Hey Rangers fans, welcome to another episode of Bleeding Blue Shirts. John Giannone, Steve Valiquette, as we preview Game 2 of the Eastern Conference Final. Steve, forget about the fact that the Rangers won Game 1. How about how they won Game 1, by the amount they won Game 1, and pretty much chiseled away all that specter about playing against a second or third string goal?
John, 71 seconds into the game, Kreider scores. And it wasn't a fluky one. It wasn't a mediocre one. It was a surgical one. And it's how you score that always takes a significant bite out of your opponent. The Rangers came up the ice. Mika fakes a shot, sells it on everybody. And then what Kreider does is he stops and he opens up a lane because these two players know each other like the back of the hand. It's just unbelievable to me how well they read off one another. To execute that play, for Kreider to get it on and off his stick quickly, elevate it to the exact spot where Vasilevskiy has difficulty. It said to me everything I needed to know about how prepared they were to open Game 1 the right way and then just send the message to Tampa Bay to let them know this is a team that's for real.
And it's a message that continued into a second period that was fairly dominant for the Rangers and really epitomized by that 62-second shift inside Tampa's zone that resulted in Filip Chytil's second goal of the game. Just speak to what the Rangers could learn from that minute 2 that they could apply to Game 2 on Friday night.
I think you feel these moments during the course of the game where you feel like you can take ownership over the game and dominate your opponent. That was a dominating segment of the game, and there was a few of them, whether it was the Rangers scoring and Shesterkin coming up with a huge save, or Shesterkin even getting scored against in the first period on Stamkos, but then comes back with a huge save. There were moments certainly where I'd imagine that if I was on Tampa's bench or in Tampa's upper management or coaching staff, where you're saying to yourself, all right, I can see why these guys are legit right now, and we better tighten up. We've got to make some adjustments for Game 2, or else, you're going home 0-2, and you can imagine what it feels like too for anybody coming into MSG right now. That place is a jungle. It's an unbelievable atmosphere. John, they've won 7 in a row at home, and you can imagine this too. And I was thinking about this morning. If you go up 2-0, that's how important tomorrow's game is. You go up 2-0 in Game 2, and now you have to beat Igor 4 out of 5 remaining games in the series to win, if you're Tampa. So I feel like there's a psychological advantage here. You win Game 2, it doesn't matter if it's a 2-1 game or a 6-2 score, you need to win this game because it really sets the message, tone, takes a significant bite, as I said, out of this Tampa Bay belief system.
All right, so this isn't cold water. This is cold, hard reality. And I'm going to ask you a trivia question. In the last 3 postseasons, Tampa has lost 17 games in the playoffs. What do you think Vasilevskiy's record is in games after a loss in the last 3 postseasons?
17-0?
Correct.
Yeah.
He has not lost 2 in a row since the Lightning were swept in the 19 playoffs by the Columbus Blue Jackets. The specter of that, I would think, alone will allow Tampa to quickly put Wednesday night in the rearview mirror, correct?
And by the same token, the Rangers are aware of it, John. They're aware of it. You can't fool the players. They read the game notes. They hear it from people that are close to them. And sometimes you hear things that you don't even want to know about, but it's brought to your attention. So you can't escape it. The players may say it doesn't matter. I'm just telling you, they're aware of it. That's step number 1, because now you can set a plan to guard yourself against failure. And what the Rangers have shown me is they know how to prepare. They've been starting on time, as coaches would say. I think the New York Rangers have to play their game, focus intently on what they are doing. Details have to be set in place so their habits can show up, and have to be of one mind. I feel like when I watch this group, they are together. You talk about the shift in the second period where Miller passes to Chytil for Chytil's second. I'm like, what a team. We were there. We were there physically watching it below us because we were on the Chase Bridge. But, it's just one of those moments, again, where it makes everybody in the building believe, therefore the players have a deeper sense of belief and trust in one another.
Yeah, all right. So belief and trust and focus and all of that stuff can best be described for Filip Chytil. Here's a guy who had 8 goals in 67 games in the regular season. He has 7 in 15 in the playoffs. Why, Steve? What have you seen from him in the postseason that has been so radically different than what we saw in the regular season?
It's a great question, something I was working on this morning. If you remember games 2 and 3 in Carolina, games 1 and 2 in Carolina, when the Rangers were struggling to score a little bit. And if you remember, Kakko set Chytil up on the back door 3 different times. He scored 1 off the rush, but he had difficulty elevating on the other 2. And I was watching that, I was thinking, you know what? Pretty interesting to see last night where he comes down on his stick a little bit more, elevates the puck, importantly, above the pad. And that's really important on Vasilevskiy. We talked about this before the game. You've got to get the puck above the pad. The pad's 11 inches. Just get it that 1 foot up off the ice under his hands. And the Rangers scored 4 of their goals that way. A big part of this, though, John, is being able to receive the puck between your feet, closer for Chytil to his left ankle, so he can crank his left hand down on the shaft of his stick and be able to get more elevation and execute. And when we talk about the Rangers and what they did last night, and this includes Chytil twice, of course, they had 6 passes across the ice to one another, and they scored on 4 of them. It's one thing to execute a play like that because you have the scoring chance, but the player that's receiving the puck, and in this case we can talk about Chytil, he's getting himself in the right place to receive. So he's backed away enough away from the net that he can still have vertical angle to put it high, but he's also still gaining momentum towards the net so he can follow it up if the goaltender makes first save. I just think that he's made adjustments positionally, how he's read the play, and now executing with elevation. It's really a story for other young players to read so that they can improve the same way he has made these adjustments.
All right, Steve, last question as you look to game 2 on Friday night. 39 shots on goal for Tampa, but they allowed 6. Where is the adjustment in either end of the ice?
Well, I think that Tampa's dangerous, John. There's no discounting the fact they had 4 high danger in the first period, 3 more in the second that were very close. But as you and I noted when we were watching this game, a lot of chances that were just handcuffs, near misses. They had what we would refer to as their looks. You know, they were there, but they weren't able to execute the way that I just described Chytil had executed, or Chris Kreider. What the Rangers did was they did more with what they were able to create, but Tampa's not that far off. I'm looking at what happened to the Toronto Maple Leafs in the first round, where they blew out Tampa in game number 1, 5-0, and then they came back and lost. I believe it was 5-3. But it was a Tampa comeback that you look at this game and, you know, it looks a lot like what they would love to be able to accomplish, which is a dominating start. They scored. This is another thing about Tampa that you have to be aware of. They score a lot of late period goals. Final 2 minutes, John. This is the most dangerous team in the NHL. You have to be aware until the buzzer. Never stop playing. And I hope the players are reminded of this. Never stop playing against this group because they will surprise you late in periods.
We will have it covered for you, pillar to post, 7:30 for the pregame show Friday night on MSG Networks and MSG Go. And then Steve and I will be there, and Henrik Lundqvist is back in the house for game 2. So we'll have a 1-hour postgame show immediately after it ends on ESPN. Looking forward to it as always, Stevie. Thanks, bud.
I checked in with Hank this morning. He's pumped. We're going to be excited for this game too.
Absolutely.